All glories to Amrita and Dhanvantari, the supreme divine healers. So today I want to talk about the medicinal aspect of this pandemic, this fake virus, lockdown, all this stuff, to give a medical perspective on it, based on the findings of Dr. Harma of New Medicine, who came to his conclusions between 30 and 20 years ago, and as discussed by Mr. Pillhar from Austria. And he has a very good article which translates as Coronavirus, the halo, or the glorious halo of the deep state. And I want to try like a free translation of that article, and which was, by the way, deleted from Vimeo and YouTube, and then again reinstated on Vimeo. But of course he got a lot of trouble, and as well as Dr. Harma, he got so much trouble for his findings by the medical community, the pharma and the states, etc. So there's a lot of talk about this so-called virus, and some alternative views are also being expressed, which is very recommendable and necessary. But the problem is that most of these specialists still fall prey to the basic false assumptions of the medical establishment, and that we want to address today by going to the root cause of these misunderstandings. Because if we can understand the basic misunderstandings, the root of the lie, then the whole house of cards will crumble, and that is very essential. So the point is, which was realized 20 years ago by Dr. Harma, is that there is no virus. Now I will hear so many people scream, how can you say that? Well, there was never any virus isolated or proven to exist. But we will come to this a little bit later. So if there is no virus, just let's assume as a possibility, then there can also be no diseases which are caused by viruses. So there is no reason to be fearful, and then the institutions, the governments, etc. will have no reason to and no power to control the people if they would not believe, and if they were not in fear and horror for their survival. And there would not be these restrictions in travel, the human rights, etc. Even though the human rights should not be restricted on the basis even if there was a virus, but that's a whole different subject matter I may address at some point. Because, okay, I will say one word I will say about it. If there was a dangerous virus, then those who are afraid of it, who believe in it, they can take protections, they can stay at home on their own decision, but it should not be superimposed on those people who are not afraid or who know or who believe that there is no danger. Okay, because that is a whole discussion, lawful discussion in itself. So it's all probably based on a lie, a fake. But the people accepted those sanctions because of their ignorance and their superstition. And that is what we should be afraid of. This superstition and ignorance of the people, both medically and when it comes to who they are, what are their rights, etc. And that is affecting us all. That is the point. So we all get affected by the powers that be, which most of us know are full of lies, and it's coming out bit by bit, and it's being also suppressed at the same time. They're trying to suppress the true information coming out, but well, so it all goes back. Now let us look a little bit deeper into the basic misunderstandings of this medical establishment. So it all goes back to Mr. Pasteur around 150 years ago, and he was a chemist, by the way, and he was examining sick people, and these sick people who had fever and feeling down, etc. And the German medicine, or the new medicine, says these people were in the healing phase, all of them. And in the healing phase, microbes like fungi and bacteria, etc., they are having a special task to heal, to help the healing, to clean up the tissues. So Pasteur was seeing those microbes active in the healing phase, and he postulated that these microbes were actually causing the disease. And the interesting thing is that even the modern medicine understands and acknowledges that there is a apathogenic state of microbes in healthy people. Not poisonous, not toxic state. So for some reason, they can be toxic or non-toxic, but he could not explain why. So the problem is the text is very small and I have to read and translate, so bear with me. It's a very important subject matter. It's at the root of the whole medical problem. But, and now we're coming to the point, Pasteur also found sick people where he could not find active microbes. Then how could his assumption still hold true that the microbes are the cause of the disease? So he was in a dilemma, and then he came up with the idea, it was just an idea, that in those cases there must be another microbe which is too small for me to see with my light microscope. And he said that, he called that the viruses. But we cannot see it because they are like a 10,000th the size part of the size of the bacteria. So that was just an assumption that he could not prove. He just claimed it to be so, and that these viruses would cause these symptoms. So the German medicine or the new medicine knows nowadays that this is the healing phase of the platen epithel group. So that's a plate epithel, that's a kind of tissue which is in the mucous membranes of the nose, the bronchi, the throat, the liver tubula, the female organs, etc. And also in some other diseases that I cannot translate, also the external skin, etc. And the classical medicine, they claim it's caused by viruses. And these sicknesses, they are directed by the how to say, the brain. There are different parts of the brain, and there is the outer layer of the brain. I don't know how to translate it. The bark, the brain bark, it would be. So Pasteur also then was explaining he just couldn't prove the existence of these viruses because they were too small. And we have seen photos of the genome, of the human genome, the cell, the double helix. That's the picture of the electron microscope. And one of those molecules of the double helix is said to be now the virus, which is then docking into those DNA, RNA in the cell to reproduce. And by reproduction, like how to say, when the cells, they divide, cell division. So my point is this: think about it deeply. This is my last point for part 1 of this video. Then I will make a break and go to the next part. The modern medicine acknowledges that viruses are not alive. They have no symptoms of a living organism. They have no reproductive organs. They have no breathing mechanism and no symptoms, organs of a living organism. So they're basically dead. There are some amino acids, maybe not even amino acids, just some structure of these RNA and DNA. Supposedly, never proven, never given any picture of. Then, if they are not alive, how can they have the incentive to get into a cell and reproduce? Only that which is alive and has a soul in it can have the drive to reproduce itself. Just take away this one point. Viruses were never proven to exist. They're said to be, supposed to be dead. Then how could they have an incentive to reproduce? This is a very important point I want you to take away from this video. It's already 15 minutes long because I'm a little bit slow with my translation and interpretation. So yeah, we'll see you in the next video for some more very deep and important thoughts on epidemiology and viruses. Thank you very much. May the Om Love be with you. Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. And check the links description of the video. Click the like button and share for the benefit of all.